Hello and welcome to this week's Gems of War Guild event plan. I am Guardian Namek, Guild Leader of Loot and Plunder. This week's focus is the Invasion event, where we are luckily using Undead. And after running some numbers, here are some of the units you want to use. This is the team I plan on using. You don't necessarily need to use Pharos Ra. I just have been having a bunch of fun with them on my Souls team, and figured at least for the lower levels, I could use his bonus souls and soul gathering to gather some more souls. But the idea around this one really is just these two, as they will be the main powerhouses. This is nice because it deals some damage, makes some mana for Lord Harker, but otherwise not too needed. Lord Harker, on the other hand, is an insanely powerful character. He explodes around 30 to 34, depending on where his magic is, gems, which is going to be about the entire board. So, surprise, we have a new Explode the Board character. So, very happy about that. And the nice thing is, if this Queen Wilhelma, at first I thought it was Queen Wilhelm, and could only think of the Wilhelm scream, is on my team, convert all brown gems to bleed gems, which means he can pretty much keep popping off and deal bleed damage to everyone, which easily will hit max stacks, which means about 10 true damage a turn, which is insane. Like, he's both an amazing damage and mana generator character. However, Queen Wilhelma does not exist in game yet, so can't use her yet. And then the Grave Worm is the key unit for this week, as that will be our tower killer and also give us double of scores. So if you're doing the guild event, make sure you have the Grave Worm. Your guild will thank you. They also, as with any worm, create some gems, in this case more bleed gems. This entire 10-week artifact campaign thing has been focused around bleed, and I have grown to appreciate how much damage it can do on a bleed-focused team. And then I'm just having Pharos Ra, because I did like 200 or more vault keys to get him, because I needed more diamonds to be able to actually make them, and it was well worth it. The 150 extra souls is golden for soul farming, and he gets a decent amount of souls, so. But he's just there for the soul farming during an actual event, instead of soul farming during exploring battles. Now, you're looking for other options because you don't have any of these, or don't want to use the super mythic, or don't have the old weapon, or don't want to use a character. There are a lot of other good units. Ghulvania's Undead are full of wonderful units, partly because they do a lot of lifesteal, and lifesteal is very effective actually. So, some more damage things can be the Crimson Bat, such as this one, as they do AoE true damage and they gain some life. It is the precursor to being able to steal, because back in the day, this was the legendary for Ghulvania, and they did not have steal mechanics. So it was just deal damage and gain, which is probably for the better, because could you imagine stealing 23 health from all enemies? I mean, it's a good thing he doesn't have anything that's like based off my life, because that would be powerful. However, speaking of boosted off of their life, Vlad the Unsated steals life, and then does more boosted by his life. So he really gets to ramp up quick. He isn't as good as like Tesla or other units, but he is a very solid choice for single target ramping up damage, simply due to the more he steals, the more he can steal. And on a very similar front, there is also Sanguinia, who steals life, boosted by purple allies and enemies, which is a fairly easy thing to do. You build a team around purple, and then every so often there'll be a purple enemy or maybe two purple enemies. And so she gets to steal a good amount. She isn't as good as Vod, but she is a very solid life drain character as well. We also have the Ghost Queen, as they get a steal mana from an enemy, so it's very useful, for recharging. And then she steals life, boosted by purple gems at a 1-to-1 ratio. Very convenient. Also, as queen, I swear a lot of them are queens or kings that have the all whatever type allies start with 50% mana. It's a very nice trait, and I probably will end up using her in place of Forest Raw once things get a bit difficult, where I'm like, oh, I want to start off more charged. But they are fairly useful. The mana steal will not be useful during this event, as I am pretty sure as the towers are impervious, which basically means no fun. Which also would mean Lord Harker doesn't really get to do any damage, if he could. But it's invasion. The worm is going to do most of the damage. I also realized that since it is invasion, I actually should have my Grave Worm up front, as at the end, it is going to be bashing towers as well. So I might actually switch out for a Skull Buster. Now, another fairly good unit is going to be the Flesh Horror, because of the fact that they eliminate all armor from an enemy, and then they do some damage. It's not too much damage, but the key thing really is that eliminate all armor. So he scales really well for the first hit, and then he doesn't really do that. Now, some mana options beyond Lord Harker. You could also use Cronus, as he explodes all purple gems, and that gets a decent spread, so quite useful. You can also use Wall of Bones, as they are a decent tank, and also give all other allies 5 mana at the cost of 10 mana. So it's a fairly effective. If there's a bunch of purple on the board, you could just go purple, purple, and then boing, purple, purple. Not too important, especially, and it's not too useful this time around, as you probably will be using the Grave Worm up front, which means that it is pretty much only doing the 5 attack and mana. So you might find a good use for it anyways. You also might want to try and do some skull busting, as it can be quite fun, and especially since it's invasion, we'll actually get to utilize some skull busting. Draxus converts all brown gems to skulls, and he curses the Deathmark's dwarves. We won't really be finding any dwarves, either on our team or the enemy team, I think, this time around. But the key thing is the convert brown gems to skulls. While we do currently use brown a little bit, we can definitely sacrifice it in the name of bashing through towers. Then there are some other units that I am not even going to take the time to show that are situationally good, but not really good for this event. The Umberwolf, Dreadsteed, and Deathclaw all utilize Deathmark to do their damage. Some of them have some decent damage otherwise, but not good for normal state. The Dreadsteed, at the very least, can be quite the good Deathmark dealer and also mana generator, as it generates 6 mana, or 6 purple gems for every Deathmarked enemy. However, as this is invasion, you won't be Deathmarking anyone. And as such, they are interesting units that may be useful in other undead scenarios, but not this one. You can also do the Wraith, but a similar situation to the Ghost Queen. Their biggest thing is their mana stealing abilities for their low mana cost. And as you cannot steal mana from a tower, they will not be very useful. I hope this info was helpful for both starting and veteran players at Gems of War. If it was helpful to you, give that subscribe button a click, as I plan on doing these every Monday, both to help my guild and for fun. Till next week, have fun plundering.